Diana, I got your number from your resume on LinkedIn. My name is Sarah, and I'm an old student of, and like you, we had a relationship. I don't know the circumstances of your relationship with him, but it concerns me to see his behavior continued long after I knew him. I'm curious if you would be willing to talk to me about your experience. If not, I respect that.
Sarah, I am at a loss of words, but also have so much to say. Yes, I would love to talk to you about this. Were you a student in Iowa? This is Diana.
This is Sarah.
And this is Blooming After Grooming, our podcast.
Hey, wow.
So tell me about Caca.
Yeah, today, Sarah, we're doing one of your fave things in the world, a recrap.
Have I said that before? I cannot remember the things that I say or half of the things that I do, but I'm glad that you're paying attention. You're doing a great job.
Today, I'm going to give you a recap of the Conference on Crimes Against Women. This was the 21st annual Conference on Crimes Against Women. So last year, I went as an attendee because I heard about the conference on a podcast called Financial Feminist. And it sounded really interesting. And I went to just go check it out. And it was such a great experience. And I knew that I wanted to go again this year, but with the podcast. So this year, I had a chance to also be an exhibitor. But I did pay for the conference. So I was able to attend some sessions as well. So my plan was set up the table Sunday, Monday, go to sessions and just have like the table kind of out there, you know, for people to see and like take business cards and whatever and stickers, of course. And then like I was replenishing after like every session. So that was Monday was session heavy. I went to 3 sessions total.
I would like to point out that you went by yourself without me because I'm a terrible podcast partner.
No.
I
You had a big year this year.
I had been in Spain for 2 weeks, and so I felt like taking a third week off of work in the same month was perhaps pushing the limits. So yes, just to be clear, Diana attended this event alone. Well, not alone, but without her co-host. So that's why you're the one recrapping everything, not me. So
yes,
clarify.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification. That is important. Yes, I really am regretting not having like a printout cutout of your face or something. I think that would have been really cute. But you were definitely there in spirit, Sarah, and you helped me prepare for this conference. You ordered the table runner, you ordered the business cards, you sent me your cards. So I very, very much felt that you were there, and I talked about you. So the first session I went to is called Innocence Lost: Examining Sextortion Investigation Complexities. And it was presented by Rob Finelli, who is a retired captain from the Gainesville Police Department, and Josh Bronson, a director of education programs and visitor experience at the National Law Enforcement Museum. Did you know there's a National Law Enforcement Museum?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
Okay, so my biggest takeaways from this session was learning about the Take It Down Act, because it was, you know, it was about like men targeting. Come on, men who are extorting both genders. Really, they target both genders, get them to take nude pictures, and then threaten them unless they like either, you know, pay money or send different kinds of pictures and whatever. So it was about that. And I learned about the Take It Down Act, which is social media platforms are required to have a process to request the removal of non-consensual intimate imagery, including deep fakes and so-called quote unquote revenge porn. These presenters are trying to get people to move away from the term revenge porn because porn does imply consent and like both people are on board.
And also just implies like, I feel like revenge porn also makes it sound like, well, you did something naughty and made porn, and so it got out on the internet, and that's kind of on you. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's like a message there about like you made porn, and then I think a lot of people would be like, well, then you shouldn't have done that. That was dumb. Versus like you snapped a picture of your butt and sent it to your boyfriend or something. Like, that's a very different, you know what I mean? Like, I think it
Yeah.
I think it makes people probably not care about it as much when you use the word porn. It's kind of like prostitute versus sex worker, right? Like there's a
Right.
reason that we're trying to change the language.
Yeah. And I think revenge too also makes it seem like
You did
you
something to
did some yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
like they're
Yeah.
getting you
So
back for
the
something you did. Yeah.
right. So the appropriate term is image-based sexual abuse, or IBSA. So the bipartisan law broadly applies to platforms that share images like Instagram, Reddit, Flickr, and even dating apps like Bumble. There must be a plain language form for anyone or authorized representatives to report non-consensual images of themselves, and platforms then must remove the content within 48 hours and inform the person about the removal progress. Companies that don't comply could face enforcement by the Federal Trade Commission, which can fine them up to $53,000 per violation. So,
Wow.
platforms have to act. And that was a big issue in the past of like people would reach out and be like, please take this down, take this down. And it was like impossible to get to any customer service on Facebook, you know? So I think that's a really important thing for people to know. There's law now that does give you rights and does enforce the removal of these images. They were very, the thing that I appreciated about these presenters is they were very realistic. They were like, it's not as easy as, you know, just telling someone to not send nudes. Like that's just what people do. And, you know, they were like, it's just not realistic to tell people not to do that. And especially like if they think that they're doing it with someone like this, that they built this relationship with.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that it's just some weirdo who's like, Jake, hey, I'm really not this guy. Now you sent me a bunch of nudes and I'm gonna
Well,
hold it against you.
And sometimes it is people in full-blown relationships and then somebody gets dumped and they're pissed off and they do this to try to destroy that person's life or whatever. Like there are so many ways that it can happen. And especially when you get into the deep fake thing, it's like, well, then you actually have literally no interaction at all with this person. They could be doing it to anybody, like any one of us. I'm still reading that book. I need to get back into it. But yeah, it's like there's all these websites that are like free and you can upload like anyone's picture into it and make a deep fake of like anybody as a nude. Like, so it doesn't even necessarily have to be like, you shouldn't be taking nudes. What's the advice then? Like, you shouldn't let anyone take pictures of you and none of your pictures should be on the internet ever. Like, that's also not realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think they did a really good job. I learned some stuff. I'm old. I'm naive and old. I didn't know that you could buy followers.
Yeah.
But you can. And because they were talking about how like, you know, you get a message from someone on Facebook and you don't know if they're legitimate or not. So you go and like you check out their profile, you look at how many friends they have, and you're like, oh, this is a real person. Maybe not. So listeners, maybe you're not as naive or old as I am, but just know that people can buy followers. And the last thing I'll say about the Take It Down Act is if you do reach out to any of these platforms and you don't get a response, again, they can be fined. So your next step would be to go to the Federal Trade Commission if you don't hear anything from the platform. But they should respond to you within 48 hours. That's the law.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I did feel myself getting really worked up, and this was the first session. So I didn't attend the keynote. This was like my first intro to the conference, but I found myself I even brought my calming smelling salts. Getting really upset because they're talking about this and they're admitting that it's mostly men that are doing this. And there's this like slide on proposed solutions or like next steps or something. And there's good information, but I was like, what's missing is like helping the men, right? Like getting the men to stop doing this. Why isn't that part of the list of like how to, I don't know, maybe it's just such a pipe dream that we've just accepted this is what the reality is. And so instead of the prevention, let's just do all the reactive services.
But
which
yeah, like
I get.
we do, I mean, I do feel like there should be, I don't know. internet literacy, I know, is a thing that is taught in schools, but I don't know that they're going and talking about anything like this, because I'm sure if they did, if there was any conversation about this in the school, I would assume, and educators, please let me know if I'm wrong. It would be, don't take nudes of yourself, don't send nudes, which is important for kids to understand, because also, if you are taking pictures of yourself and you are a minor and you are sending to somebody else, you can also be charged with child pornography creation and distribution. So, like, kids also need to be aware of shit like that. But there also should be a conversation about, like, why this is an actual crime and why this is a form of sexual assault and abuse, because I don't think a lot of people think about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
You're
a lot
right.
of people don't think that emotional abuse is real, right? Like they think that
Mm-hmm.
that's not, like, our brains are still very, like, abuse is you hit somebody in the face with your fist. That is the only kind of abuse that exists in the world, or rape. That's it, you know? And it's like, well, there's a lot
Yeah.
of other stuff. So it would be nice to see, yeah, like dynamic education
Ooh.
across the board about all that stuff. But I mean, you're talking about consent, and we're Puritan times now where we're not even teaching kids about fucking contraceptives, let alone consent, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that idea, the dynamic education. Session 2 is called I Don't Want to Leave Yet, Examining Survivor Barriers to Exiting Abusive Relationships. And this one was presented by Hina Khan, who is the founder and clinical director of Uplift Counseling Services. I'm pretty sure I went to one of her sessions last year, and I am really glad that I went again this year. I think the coolest thing, she did this really powerful visual of like a Jenga, the game Jenga, right? She puts up the game and she's like, everyone knows what this is. And she explains the game and everything. And she compares it to a woman or a person trying to leave an abusive relationship. And she was saying, like, for this person, God, I'm not gonna explain it as beautifully as she does. But basically that like moving, it's not as easy as just like moving the one piece, right? Because the other pieces might fall.
Well, it's kind of like what you've talked about before, of like, it might turn out that she doesn't have anywhere to live. Like there's a housing
Mm-hmm.
component, or there's kids, and so there's a custody component, or whatever. Yes, that it's not as easy as just like walking out the door sometimes.
Yes, yes. Leaving isn't just moving one block, basically. There's a lot of other things to consider so that all of the blocks don't fall down. The session was packed. Like there was nowhere she was at capacity. I think there were a lot of people really interested in this topic, which is great. And most of the people in the audience work with victims, or do some kind of like advocate services or counseling services. And so there was a lot of discussion of not taking things personally when a woman isn't following the safety plan, or isn't following the advice that you're giving her, or isn't when she goes back, like, don't see it as a failure on your end.
Mm-hmm.
And so she proposed some, I think, really helpful questions for people to think about, for people in this line of work, advocates and counselors who are working with victims of abuse. She challenges us to ask ourselves, what is she trying to hold together? What does she fear leaving? What was I able to teach, build, share, or empower her with during her time with me? And I think the questions of like, what does she fear leaving is important, because she could fear leaving or losing love, identity, routine. So in addition to leaving abuse, she's also leaving these other things. To her, there's love somewhere in this relationship, and this is
Well,
the love that
yeah,
she knows.
because nobody's like 100% evil except for Donald Trump. There's usually like redeeming qualities about them, or they're fun when they're not like being set off or whatever. And I do think that that can be really hard for other people to understand. Shit, it can be hard to even look back on your own life and look back and go, why the fuck was I with this person? You know, like, because
Mhm.
all you remember sometimes is just the bad stuff about a relationship. And you have to remember, like, okay, well, we did have good times. And there were things that, like, you know, I did love this person, but they also treated me terribly 40% of the time or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really difficult for people to see from the outside for sure.
I thought a lot about this Sesame. She's trying to get in the box where I have all the stuff from the conference. I was thinking, I was thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about this session in particular as I've been dealing with my friend and
Mhm.
the stuff that we're going through and that she's going through. And I think, I guess, obviously, like, I'm not a professional victim advocate. I'm
Sure.
not, but I think if I could ask the question now for this Miss Hina Khan, it would be, how do you work with someone who is also feeding that fire, or I forgot how you put it.
Yeah,
You know,
no, yeah, or like kicking the hornet's nest. It's making me
yes,
think of just kind of what you said before of like, don't take it personally if the person goes back. It makes me think of that that van life murder couple. What was her name?
Gabby Petito,
Petito?
and yeah,
Gabby Petito, because that popped up on my feed again the other day where somebody was like, you know, it's a picture of her crying on the body cam footage when they got like pulled over by the police like the day or two before she was killed. Um, and the caption was like, oh, police, like they never listen to women until it's too late. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, no. Like the police literally interviewed both of them separately. They got them separate. They put her up in a hotel room, I think, or they put him in a hotel room, one or the other, and one of them stayed in the van. Like the police separated them for the night and told them to stay apart from each other to cool off. And Gabby had said that she was upset and she had hit him. He was saying like that he was upset, that they both were being volatile fuel to the flame in this situation. They broke the police for, like, the police told them to stay apart and they didn't do it. Like they got back together that night and like reconciled their shit, which is their right to do as two adults, right? And unfortunately it ended in her being fucking murdered by this guy. But it's that same idea of like, those police officers have to feel terrible, right? Like they had that moment, they had her, like they could have theoretically protected her, but legally they couldn't. Like they did
mhm,
everything that they could have done. They did everything they should have done. And those two people who were in the midst of this volatile thing chose to say fuck it to what was told to them to do for a safety plan and reunited with each other. And then it ended up in this terrible disaster where they both ended up dead in the end, right? Because he ended
yeah,
up killing
I mean,
himself,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I think it's a very good example of these situations can be so complicated and complex, and you can have the right people swoop in at the right moment and they can follow the protocol and it still can end terribly, right? Like it can still end in disaster. So yeah, like how, if you were to say to her like,
mhm,
how should the cops have handled this, it's like, what more could they have done?
yeah,
Like they can't detain either one of them. Neither one of them wanted to press charges against the other. You can't just like kidnap somebody and be like, I don't think you should be around your boyfriend.
right,
Like unfortunately there are just some situations where there isn't like a great clear answer to some of these situations, because if the person isn't ready to leave, they're not going to leave. Just like an alcoholic isn't going to stop drinking until they're ready to stop drinking.
mhm,
Like, you can't, but that's really hard when you love somebody who's in those situations and you just want to watch them walk away. And I think that can be a really difficult position to be in, because yeah, from the outside, you just want to like shake your friend and be like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. Oh
or
my gosh,
yourself retroactively and be like, what the
yeah.
fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny you say that because shaking someone did come up quite a bit because, as people are women are raising their hands and like making comments and asking questions.
Mhm.
One lady was like, I just want to sometimes shake them and be like, you are going to die. Like but
Yeah.
you can't do that. And
Yeah.
that resonated with so many people in that, because then the
Mhm.
comment kept being made of like, but she could die, but she could die. And, the presenter had to like bring it back to like, okay, well, obviously we're not going to tell our clients like, you're going to die if you don't do this. But like, I understand the concern. Like,
Yeah.
she said, sometimes I work with someone and I don't know if I'm ever going to see him again. And
Oh,
whether that's
God, that's
because
so
they're not
scary.
going to, right? Whether that's because they don't want to come back for services, whether that's because something
Mhm.
happens to them, like it's the reality. And before people come at us, I don't think at all your recap of what you talked about with Gabby Petito and Brian Landry is victim blaming. It's just the
No,
reality.
not at
It's the
all. No, no,
reality. It's
no.
just something awful
Not
that
at all.
happened.
Yeah, no, and I don't yeah, obviously she did not deserve to be murdered, and oh my God, yes. Thank you. I was going to circle back on that cuz like I hope that didn't land wrong. But yeah, but what I'm saying is these situations are so fucking dangerous, and you can have all the support in the world, but at the end of the day, all you have to be is alone with the wrong person at the wrong moment in time, and these things can happen, and like we've talked about in the past too, like when you're trying to leave someone is the most dangerous time. And so like if you are working with somebody, a loved one, or if it's your professional life or whatever, like who is trying to get out of an abusive relationship, yes, you want them to leave because you're afraid for their safety, but you also have to realize that like they are now in the most danger they have ever been in that relationship, is when they're trying
Mhm.
to get away from them. And like, and it's one of those things where I think we all think it's not going to happen to us, right? It's just like cancer or like getting murdered. Like no one thinks it's going to happen to them. But I remember when I was leaving my like abusive relationship, I went back to pack up my shit. I asked him not to be there. I got there, he was there, and he was literally sitting at the kitchen table dragging a fucking knife on his arms and like threatening to harm himself. And I remember being like, I am going to die. Like I was like, this is how I'm going to he's going to stab me. Like this is,
That's
and
so scary.
he never threatened to, he never whatever, but like it was extremely terrifying. I ended up like locking myself in the bathroom and calling a friend and being like, you have to come over here. Like you have to come get me. Like I can't, this is
Mhm.
not safe, like
Yeah.
so it's like the point of that being is just like it's so easy in those moments to just be like, I'm just going to go pack my shit, or I'm just going to walk out the door or whatever, but you have no idea the mental state of the other person you're with. Like
Right.
Gabby, this is her boyfriend. Like they were traveling across the country together. I'm sure they had fights, whatever. Maybe they got physical every once in a while, but there's a big difference between pushing and shoving each other around and being murdered. Like, people can just flip the fuck out. And so it is such a scary thing to try to like help other people through that, because God forbid you push them and then something happens, or you
Mhm.
don't push
Yeah.
them and something happens. I think that's what's scary about it, is it is such a high stakes situation.
Yeah. And then I guess last thing of this session is she talked about the stages of change, and that intervention must be matched to her readiness to change, which I think is really important because, on the other end, you want to do so much. You want to you want your intervention to be impactful, and sometimes in your mind you might think like, oh, that looks one way, but it's not going to be impactful if it doesn't match her readiness or their readiness
Mhm.
to change. So the first stage
Which
is
can be
pre-con.
so frustrating.
Yes.
That's a tough
Yes. So the first stage is pre-contemplation. Second is contemplation, which I do think that it's different, right? When you're like just thinking
one.
about it, like you're maybe toying with it, but you're not actually. And then contemplation is like, oh yeah, no, like I really think this is going to happen. And then stage 3 is preparation, 4 is action, 5 is maintenance, and 6 is relapse. And unfortunately, like a lot of people do go back.
Yeah.
So I think it is important to have that last stage as a reality, right? Like you talked about with substance abuse, like there is, I've made it 2 years, but I'm not saying I'm never going to relapse with alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Like I've accepted that is a likely possibility in the future, because it's just we're all human. Okay, the last session of the day, Sarah. Whew. It was called Out of the Man Box and Across the Manosphere, Strategies for Engaging Boys and Men. I learned quite a bit in this session. Okay, this is going to sound strange. I am really glad that it was a session that was presented by charismatic. One of them, he said he's a Southern preacher, like upbeat, funny Black presenters. Because if this was going to be like some
Joe Rogan,
yes,
let me tell you about being a bro.
Yeah. It's like immediately I was like, okay, we're all friends. We're talking about this thing, but we're poking fun almost at these like fucking weirdos, but we're also getting serious. So that immediately let my guard down. The presenters of this session, Kimya Motley, Chief Advancement Officer for A Call to Men, and Rakeem Lash, who is the Vice President of Healthy Manhood Initiatives for A Call to Men. A Call to Men is the organization that they both work for. One of the questions that Kimya asked of the audience is, what do you think the number one Google search that boys, let's say like boys and men in like maybe like 25. What do you think like the number one search is? It's nothing dirty.
Is it about their
I'll
penis?
say that.
Okay. I don't know. Like,
what do you think would be in like top 5? If you were a young boy, what would you be looking up?
Probably like, is it normal to cry, or can I have feelings, or boobs, or I don't know. See, she's showing my prejudice, right? I just was like, I don't know how to have feelings. I want to look at boobs. I don't know. What is it?
Well, to be fair, I thought it was going to be where's the clitoris.
Listen, no, because that would be caring about the other person. My brain is like, what's the average penis size? Is it normal to get an erection when you see two men? Am I gay? Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Okay. So in the top 10, there were things like how to tie a tie, how to shave,
so things
like
their
that.
dad should have taught them.
Yes. But the number one search, what is a man? Isn't that so revealing and so sad?
Also, like a thing I would never Google, what is a woman?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like,
it's also really sad that the rest of them are like things that your dad should have taught you, which also says
they
a
did
lot
talk about that
fatherhood.
Yes.
Oh God, absentee dads have caused more drama and trauma. Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. They have all these feelings, and they just aren't allowed to process them. And then they just do mean things to people because they're all emotionally constipated.
100%. Like, that to me was such an eye-opener. And I had the exact same thought of like, like you think about queer people or LGBTQ, like, you know who you are on the inside. Like, that's not the problem. For you, the problem is how the world is going to react to you, but you know who you are.
Yeah.
But men, there appears to be all these young men who are like wondering, like, what does it mean to be a man? And that is so revealing, I think, of the state that we're at. And the other thing that was really interesting to me is that they talked about how men are collectively socialized easier than women. Like, so they are like more influenced by each other. They're more influenced by like what each other thinks. And I know you have talked, we both have talked about that, but that fact haunts me. And I have been thinking about it quite a bit. And it really does make me sad for men. They said, they made a point that I wrote down that I thought was really, is so true, is that many men think that the definition of masculinity is distancing from anything feminine or anything female. Like, to them, that's their version of like what it means to be masculine. Have you heard of the 80-20 breakdown?
I've heard of it in relation to beef. Ground beef.
Like how lean it is?
Yeah.
No.
my mom yelling at me as I go to the grocery store. Make sure it's 80-20. Yes. Anyways.
Well, kind of has to do with meat.
Okay.
It's this
Man meat, that is.
manosphere thing that says that 80% of women are attracted to only 20% of men. And that's like one
Who
of
says
their
this?
the people in the manosphere. That's like part of their like this is
So
why
this
you shouldn't try so
manosphere
hard.
term, this is like a documentary that came out, right? I haven't watched this. There's like a documentary that came out. It's like the manosphere. The
Interesting.
the
No,
Google.
I don't think they were talking about a
Manos-
documentary. This is all like based on like their own research.
Okay, so when we say the manosphere, like what does that mean? Okay, so manosphere documentary is a thing, and it came out on Netflix, and I have not watched it, but I have heard a lot of people be like, it's infuriating, but important to watch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, if there's
But-
a documentary, I would love to learn more
Yeah, I
about
think
it
it's just
because same
called
as
The
you.
Manosphere.
Okay. Because same as you, we've talked about the manosphere. I'm pretty sure we've said manosphere sometime on this podcast. But for me, I guess like I didn't really understand that it's a culture, like it's a community. Like there are pockets of, okay, the pills, the red pilling,
Sorry.
the blue pilling, the, no. Why are you apologizing?
The
I'm
Matrix?
just-
Wait,
The-
what?
Yes,
What's
yes.
happening right now?
I know.
I'm very confused. Okay.
Because you're not part of the manosphere.
Should we be talking about this?
I mean, it's happening, so I feel like ignoring it isn't.
No. I mean, like, do we not know enough to be talking about this? Okay.
Oh,
No,
I see what you're saying.
Maybe we should watch that documentary. So, okay. There is some kind of group cultural, like, the manosphere is like, I'm trying to equate
I
it to
guess
something else. Like
to
girlhood or something, like sisterhood, or like I don't want to say feminism because that's very specific ideology. It's not like a formal organization, but it's like
it's not.
the culture
it's a-
of men, essentially.
It's a subculture. It's a subculture.
Okay,
it's a
okay.
subculture, kind of like,
And that
I don't wanna
subculture thinks that 80% of women are only attracted to 20% of men.
yes.
So what does that mean
Pockets of
for
that
them?
subculture.
Okay.
So for them, it means depending on. Okay, so I do have a slide here that has some characteristics of
Okay.
the manosphere. So maybe that'll help us. So characteristics of the manosphere. It weaponizes the tension points of breaking out of the man box by offering a quick fix to unfathomable success and status, often material and sexual. The myth of the alpha male is romanticized. Real men are owed and entitled to dominance, power, and sex. For white boys and men, it's a grieved entitlement. The messaging is wrapped in aggression and violence with the modus operandi rooted in a deficit framework, i.e., look at what you don't have. Women and girls are blamed for the stagnation, loneliness, and hurt men are reporting experiencing in high volumes, portraying men as victims of feminism, womanism, and gender equity. Some have monetized their message or offerings, leaving one to question whether folks even believe what they say or whether this is about the bottom line. It all starts with good intent and quickly grows vengeful and nihilistic, seems to always be in response to the presence of something it finds to be a threat. Emphasized traditional gender roles while elevating anti-Blackness, heterosexism, xenophobia, ableism, and shaming. It's infectious
Sounds
because
awesome.
it's infectious because
Jesus.
it's direct, thin, and simple, making straightforward assessments about masculinity, identity, gender, and steps to take. So it was honestly like, it's kind of with like the 6-7 thing. Like my brain is trying to understand how it works.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt in this presentation was like,
So it
I
sounds
don't
like a pyramid
understand-
scheme of toxic masculinity.
That is a great way to put it. Yes, because it starts. So they talked about how easy it is for kids to young
Mhm.
boys to start consuming content that it's manosphere influenced, because you
Oh,
start
yeah.
looking up things online of like how to pick
Dude,
up girls.
the YouTube algorithm is problematic with a capital P. I know they all are, but that one is like you will fall down some dark shit so fast. And yeah, I mean I have friends who have young sons that have like, you know, heard their sons regurgitating weird, very problematic anti-female rhetoric at a very young age because they, you know, were watching some YouTube something about some video game, and then an hour and a half later they're learning about gold diggers and how women just want your money and blah blah blah.
And I still don't quite understand the pills, but the pills, and it is related to the Matrix, because there is some so in the manosphere there's communities based on what color pill you are. So
dude, this sounds so crazy. What?
I know.
We are living in dark times, man.
Yes. I don't even want to try to like get into the different pills. There's 10 different ones that they talked about. And I still don't even understand like the how to use it. Like people will say like red pilling or blue pilling. I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe I got to watch the documentary. All this to say that this is a subculture that is really affecting young men and boys out there. And so y'all just check in on your kids and what they're watching on the YouTube, because it could be very problematic. And then what else?
I think maybe we should watch that documentary. It's one of those things where like, I haven't watched it because I'm like, oh God, I don't want to know. But, you know, I think it's probably important to have an understanding of this giant, weird subculture that is obviously existing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know about the Matrix thing, though.
I know.
Come on. Leave the Matrix alone.
Leave the Matrix alone. Yes. Yeah.
And was directed by freaking now trans people. So go co-opt something else. Listen.
Happy Pride Month. Woo!
Happy Pride Month. You know? Go make it Hulk Hogan themed or some shit. Pick somebody who aligns with your bullshit.
I think the idea is like, if you take, you know, what's the whole thing that
you're breaking out of the simulation, man. Like
right,
like you're smarter than everybody, and you're like, you know, whatever.
Exactly, spot on, Sarah. Yeah. Right.
This sounds like a troubled group of sad people that probably have a lot of dad issues.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel like maybe we should be mad at our dads, not mad at
the
girls.
Yeah. Agreed. These are
not
probably
that all
the
women
same.
are perfect.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Pam Bondi's bitch ass.
I know. Whatever. They probably into both of those ladies, though. Like, wow, she's a real dynamic gal.
You know, same reason why the Epstein files, right? You don't want to. It's so ugly. You don't want to touch it. You don't want to look at it. But then you're missing all this information. And okay.
And look at what great things we've done with all this Epstein information. Oh, wait, that's right. Our government has done nothing, and not a single person has been arrested. Anyways.
So that was Monday. The first day of the conference.
That sounds nice and light. That sounds nice and light, airy. A real just dipping your toes in the water.
Well, this was, thank the stars, the same day that Kristen flew in. So I drove down to Texas because I had a car full of stuff that I didn't want to fly with. And then she flew in on Monday. So I was able to decompress with her and distract myself with her. And so it was really nice not being alone this year, because last year was roof stoof, as I like to say. Which I took from Happy Endings. Watch it on Hulu. It's hilarious. I wish they would bring it back. Yeah. So Tuesday, I spent most of the day at our table, Sarah. Met so many people. I ran out of stickers on day 2. So I think we should order more stickers. And I think that we should, at the bottom of the logo, put like podcast, just like in small letters. So that if we do stick it around town. Right? Right?
Jesus Christ.
That it's not just
Details, Diana. Don't you tell the graphic designer how to make stickers to promote her podcast and tell her to do something crazy like put the word podcast on it.
podcast on it. So yes, I think we should do that whenever you get a chance. And I was honestly a little nervous about the cards, like the greeting cards. So I had
yes.
You know,
tell the listeners
and-
about my greeting cards.
Okay. Sarah, you tell us about your greeting cards.
I have art and then I made them into greeting cards and they say salty things on them. Like, I heard your abuser died, and it's like two happy ladies in a graveyard. And
the
one
stones
is a
say
cow-
it's about damn time.
Yeah, and it says it's about damn time. And then there's a cowgirl on a horse, and her says, "Yeehaw! I heard your abuser had to move in with his ma and pa," which that one makes me laugh.
That one was popular in Texas.
Oh, nice. Oh, duh. Yeah, Texas. Shit, I should have sent you more of those. And then there's one of a bunch of ladies like in baseball uniforms. And it says like, "Good job on your victim impact statement," or something like that.
Okay.
There might
And
be
the
a
other
fourth
one
one.
that's, well, the other one
and then there's a
isn't-
lady
yeah.
is a nude lady laying in like a field, and she's farting, and it says, "Fuck you," or "Fuck off."
Fuck off.
Fuck off in her fart cloud, because this is the kind of art that I make. Very mature.
And it's beautiful. And let me tell you, people fucking loved it. Loved it. Like, I really thought,
Aw.
okay, I'm going to have to be prepared to defend my anger and talk about why it's okay to be mad at abusers and happy when they die. Didn't have to do any of that at all.
Delightful. You were with
And
your people. You were with our people.
I was with our people for sure. People were coming up and like picking him up and being like, haha, oh my God, haha, look at this, friend, come over here. Look at I was so proud of you. I was like, damn, I wish
Aw.
Sarah was here to see it. Like, people are really, and we sold out of them. We sold out. Granted,
That's
you
very
sent me
nice to
maybe like
hear.
20, but still, we fucking
Still,
sold
okay, I-
out of them.
Sold one of them online in the like year that I've had them. It just goes to show that like there's no such thing as a bad product. That's not true. Bad art. You just have to find your people. And they, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? The internet's a big place and it's hard to be found. So I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that they resonated with that group. And it makes sense that if there was going to be anybody in the world that would be like, fuck yes to that, it would be that crew.
Yes. Yeah. It was nice to hear the plans that people had for them. Like, some people are just going to frame them and put them in their office. Some people
Aw.
want to give them to clients. Some people want to give them to friends. So it made me so happy to know that they were resonating with people and that I didn't have to like get in defense mode. And then I made sure to tell people that Sarah's also on Etsy, has an Etsy shop. And, you know, I think I was confusing people because when I would talk, so I had a spiel, and my spiel, which was, my name is Diana. I was groomed and sexually abused by my high school English teacher. Oh, no, hold on. Backwind. Ha! Rewind. My spiel. My spiel
Recrap
was-
your backwind.
Perfect. I would, say hi to someone. They'd come to the table and I'd be like, my name is Diana. I co-host this podcast. It's called Blooming After Grooming. I was groomed and sexually abused by my high school English teacher. My co-host and I would do this and like point at the cards.
They're like,
So
oh,
I
this
think
woman's
people were
delusional.
She's like, there's nobody next to you, woman. What are you doing?
You should have just
in
had
my-
a cardboard cutout of me, like, oh my God, sitting there with you.
So I'd be like my co-host was groomed and abused by him in a different state and a few years before me. So the podcast tells the story of how we found each other almost 20 years later, everything that we did to try to hold him accountable the best that we could, and all the things that we learned going through that process. And so we're really just trying to share that information because we learned so much and we were really lucky to have each other, but most people are going through this alone. And so we're just hoping to be a friend in someone's ear or validating someone's experience. And season 1 tells our story. And season 2, we were talking to professionals. We've interviewed authors. We've talked to Terry Miller. We're talking to advocates. And so, yeah, hopefully it'll give us a listen. We do swear a lot, which people were like, Fine. Me too. Love it. So these are really our people.
Nice. Well, I hope that they tune in.
I brought down 6 bags of candy. And Kristen, she went to the hotel room because she works from home. So she went like straight to the hotel room to like do some work.
Yeah.
And I forgot, like I brought up the candy and she was like, oh, it's for the conference. And I was like, yeah, you think I just brought 6 bags of candy for me?
She's like, girl, I don't know how you're coping these days.
And she was like, I went around to each trash can looking for wrappers, like to make, just like see how much candy you've eaten. And I didn't find any.
It's hilarious.
Because it's not for
She's
me.
like,
I'm not
Diana's
eating
not
this
doing
candy.
well.
She's
She's like, I'm proud you're not drinking, but my God, stop eating so much candy.
So I thought that was hilarious that she really thought I
That's
just
funny.
brought down all this candy for me.
6 bags.
Ran out of candy. Thank goodness, because I did not want to bring back all the candy. And then I went to one session on this day, and this one was super interesting too. The dark side of AI, understanding artificial intelligence threats. Okay, so his name is Eric Jollymore. He is the Assistant Director of Digital Forensics for SEARCH, the National Consortium for Justice and Statistics. So in this session, I learned about bots. So, Sarah, I know that we have had conversations, and I've had conversations with you where I'm like, man, Facebook is making me so mad. And you tell me, don't engage because it's probably just bots. And I'm like, okay, Sarah, you're right. But I've never really stopped to think about what that means. Like, who are these bots? Where do these bots come from? How do they come to be? Do you know about how they come to be? What do you know about bots?
I don't know about how they come to be. I've seen the pictures where it's like a wall of like screens and it's like one person running like 500 bots at the same time. And they're like specifically trying to like incite outrage about specific things to manipulate people, to buy things, to vote certain ways, to not vote certain ways, to disengage from voting. It's upsetting. But tell me, what else did you learn?
So I learned that this was another session where I had like, my brain was a little bit like, I can't keep up. There's no framework for this. So from what I understood, there are programs like websites, apps, I don't know, something on the internet that you can go to. And let's say that I want to program a bot to, anytime someone talks about Sarah Headland being a crappy artist, I can put in a bot, like a I don't know, a prompt or whatever. I can put in something so that anytime Sarah Headland and art comes up on like Reddit or Facebook or any of these social media platforms, to then respond to that in a certain way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, because it's like when you see a product being advertised on like Facebook, right? It used to be you go to the comments, and if there's no comments, you'd be like, I'm not going to buy this. This is fake. And then it's like, oh, there's a bunch of comments and it's people saying this is amazing. Oh my God, I had such great results. And you'd be like, oh, okay. Like these are people. But now that shit's probably bots. So you can't even like trust that shit. So you have to be very like discerning and like read the comments and think like, is this how a real person would talk? Or how different are these comments? Are they all essentially saying like the exact same thing? And
yeah,
it's exhausting. It makes it really hard to just navigate.
Yes.
I was trying to buy a mattress and I didn't buy a mattress because I fell down such a fucking rabbit hole about mattress reviews. And again, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, New York Times, like top 10 list, or like Consumer Affairs, top 10 list, blah, blah, blah. And then I was reading those articles. It was like, those are all pay to play. Those companies just like pay to get on those lists. So that doesn't mean anything. I was just like, I just want someone to tell me what brand of mattress to buy. And I just didn't buy anything. Like, I think that's what sucks about it. It's very overwhelming and it makes it hard for people to make informed decisions because so much of the information now is false and corrupted and nobody really knows where to turn for like accurate information.
Yeah. Do you know what GPT stands for?
GPT.
Yeah, like
Geo.
ChatGPT.
Oh, ChatGPT. No.
Generated pre-trained transformer. Just want to throw that in there in case it comes up in trivia for anyone. Generated
okay.
pre-trained transformer. There's a place
Wonderful.
online that exists called Common Crawl where all our data goes. Like any public picture that we've put online is probably in Common Crawl. And I think that was probably my biggest like takeaway or reflective thought from this session is like, you know, for years and years I've been just agreeing to terms and conditions, right? And but never once did I think when I first got a Facebook back in 2007 that like data was going to be used in such a way that I was just going to be data one day. You know what I mean? And now it's too late. Like we can't.
Nobody was thinking about it that way.
Well, the people
then.
behind all this
20 years
work,
ago. Well, yes.
The everyday
us,
person though wasn't.
The average person.
Yes, and it's infuriating.
I still get those all the time, like service update or like, you know, policy updates for all these different accounts. And I'm always just like, well, I'm sure it's something terrible that I would be upset about if I actually read it. I'm going to just move on with my life and not worry about it. Like, oh, God.
The last session I went to on that day was called Reimagining Legal Access, Expanding Survivor Pathways Through Alternative Legal Models. And it was presented by Amanda Elkonic Oder, Chief Advocacy and Education Officer for the Texas Advocacy Project, and Bronwyn Blake. Oh, beautiful name. Bronwyn Blake, the Chief Legal Officer for the Texas Advocacy Project. And so this one was all about like legal access. I learned that pro se means representing yourself and that some states have better laws than others when it comes to representing yourself. Like Kentucky, I guess, is the worst state for pro se laws. Like they make it very difficult for someone to represent themselves, but it's a great organization. I would recommend looking up Texas Advocacy Project. That was day 2.
Nice.
Day 2, I also ran out of business cards, Sarah. So we need to order more of those. How many came in that box? Do you remember? Like
250 probably?
250? Okay, so 250 of our business cards are somewhere in the world. That's very exciting. And then day 3 was pretty laid back. I went to one session and I don't usually walk out of sessions. Like that's not my thing. If I committed to it, I'll sit there and I'll listen to you. I'm not going to share the name of these presenters, but
that's
the
reasonable.
the last presentation I went to, which I was really excited about, and I was really bummed that it didn't go the way that I wanted it to. It's called The Impact of Sex Trafficking in the Latina Community. And the first kind of like, I don't know if I like this, was the presenter who is from Peru. She said something like, I had a client who told me once that she fired her therapist because her therapist told her to just cut out her toxic family. And you can't say that to a Latina. Like you just can't. Like I didn't like, it's true. Sure. Like maybe don't approach it and say, cut out your family, but I don't like that it contributes to like, so you're just saying that we're expected to, it just didn't feel right. Like, you know what I mean?
I could see where like the motive is to say like, because family is like so culturally important to, you know, a Latino person, but it's also that kind of thing of like, okay, but you also can't just generalize. You can't just say like, nobody would ever be willing to do that, and that's not an option for this community.
Exactly, because what message is that sending to Latinas in the audience? Like maybe someone in the audience is trying to navigate a situation with their family, and now they've been told by this presenter, someone in authority, that like you're not Latina if you don't stick by your toxic family. Like, no, fuck that. So that was not what I like. That was one thing, and then like it was the last session of the week. So I think it was the last day of sessions, and it just felt very repetitive as far as like she would make a point and then like keep adding examples to that point, like just keep making the point. And I wanted to be like, we got it, move on to the next point. So I just,
so you were having like a real neurodivergent reaction where you're just like, I understand what you're saying. Please stop talking. Move on. I hate that. That's the worst.
Exactly. And so like I could just feel myself getting, also it was like day 3, of an intense week. And I was like, it's my last session and I had high hopes from it. I was tired. And I was like, all right, I'm going to quietly step out. And that's what I did. And yeah, I had a great time. It was awesome having Kristen there. If you go to Dallas, you must eat at this restaurant called Restaurant Beatrice. It is a B Corp certified restaurant, which means their practices are very socially and environmentally conscious. The food was amazing. I cannot recommend it enough. Restaurant Beatrice. And we also went to Meow Wolf, which was fun. Have you been to a Meow Wolf?
Yeah. Yes.
Where?
I've been to Denver.
Okay.
I went to Denver and Carl went to Santa Fe or Albuquerque.
What?
Yeah.
I wonder, they each got to be different. They're
totally different.
I can't even like describe it. I've never experienced anything
amazing.
like it.
Go check out a Meow Wolf. And they have all these hidden paths. So like you could totally have a different experience if you went back to the same one, because if you like missed a door, you can end up in these whole other like rooms and environments that you never saw the first time. They're pretty amazing.
Kristen said it was her favorite part of the trip. Like she was like, that was my favorite thing ever. It was really cool. I would definitely recommend both of those things. Meow Wolf and Restaurant Beatrice. But yeah, so that's Caca 2026.
Caca.
Caca.
Good job, Diana. Way to go. Way to represent the pod. Way to come home and give us a little book report about your experience.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I learned a lot, and I hope that I shared some things that hopefully other people can use or think about. And yeah, oh my God, real quick, I didn't even get a chance to share with listeners that I met a listener. I met Elaine.
Right.
Yes. Elaine. Sweet listeners, you heard an email from Elaine. We shared an email that she wrote to us in the last listener emails episode. And I had an opportunity to meet her in person, and she is doing some really cool things. So hello, Elaine. It was so nice to meet you in person. We got a picture together, and it was just it's the first time that's happened where someone's like, are you Diana from Blooming After Grooming?
Oh my God, you got like recognized out in the streets.
So yeah, it was really cool. And I guess, that there are volunteer opportunities if you're in the Dallas area, or if you want to travel to Texas next year and I don't know, make a trip out of it and do this for fun. I would really recommend it. It is a really great conference. It's crazy that there is a whole conference about crimes against women. And it's really cool to spend a week with people who are trying to make the world less shitty for women. So
yeah,
Caca 2027. We'll see you there. All right, everyone. We will talk to you soon. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok at Blooming After Pod. We have a website called bloomingafterpod.com. And we have an email, bloomingaftergrooming@gmail.com. Let us know how you're doing, how you're coping. Are you eating 6 bags of candy? No judgment.
Have you watched the Manosphere documentary? Do you understand the Matrix pill thing?
And as always, do your best to grow through
what you go through.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, friends. This is Diana. I am here at the Conference on Crimes Against Women 2026, and we're going to hear from a few people about their conference experience. Okay, here we go.
Hello there. My name is Dr. Christy Lee. I am a licensed mental health counselor and a professor of counseling. Also have a private practice. This is my first time at the Seesaw Conference. Is that how you pronounce it? I call it Caca. Seesaw, Caca. I don't know. This may sound a little odd, but my favorite thing about this conference is being around a bunch of other people who can just drop in and talk about like really hard, heavy topics and like not miss a beat. Because it's like, that's the world I live in, but the normal world doesn't live there. And so it's just really nice to be around a bunch of people that you can just, these things are just, all these hard things are just being talked about. And it's like, yeah, this is the work we do. Other people get it. Yeah. And it's the work we do. And we think about it all all the time and we live and breathe it. But you can't, like, they're not party conversations.
Right. Yeah, it's hard for me. Sometimes I will go there because I can't help it.
I can't help it either. I kind of read the,
Yeah.
anyway, so it's very refreshing to be able to have these conversations just so openly without needing to hesitate. So that's great. And I've also been super excited about the quality of the presentations. They've been very, very high. I've learned many things so far at this conference, but I just went to a really great session on lethality by the folks down the way here, and how assessing for lethality in DV cases, they were built before porn became so ubiquitous and haven't been updated to consider porn and its impact as a factor in lethality, especially around strangulation. So that was like really interesting. So thank you so much for being here.
My name is Jillian Medicine Cloud. I am a tribal liaison for North Dakota Domestic and Sexual Violence Coalition. I'm also a survivor, a friend, and a relative of someone who was a victim of a crime. This is my very first time at the conference. My favorite part about the conference is seeing the diversity and the amount of people that come together to fight violence against women. What's really stuck with me so far is a speaker had talked about how data only reflects federal priorities, and that really changed my perspective a bit. And a surprising or unexpected thing about the conference is how big it is.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Ramas Banuri. I'm an advocate here local in the Dallas area. This is my first time at this conference, and a surprising or unexpected thing about the conference that I've learned has been one talk I attended earlier today about misidentification of victim and batterer, where law enforcement often uses existing social mechanisms to determine who's at fault and who's not, like who called 911, who is showing more visible bodily injuries, which leads to a lot of survivors or people who are abused being incarcerated for what is fundamentally self-defense. I think I've been surprised or did not expect how many of those cases there truly were, and also the lack of real legal recourse for folks who find themselves in those situations.
Hi, my name is Eric Jollymore, and I'm a teacher here at the Crimes Against Women Conference for the 2026 season. This is my fourth time at the conference here. And my job here to work is as a teacher. That's one of my favorite parts of this particular conference. I learn something new every day, every time that I come to this particular conference, because I get to connect with so many different people from so many different locations that are coming at this from so many different perspectives, whether they're another teacher, a criminal investigator, or in some cases, a survivor of a particular incident that happened in their life. Something that's surprising or unexpected that I've learned in one of these conferences is just something that happened today. Be it that I learned that in many of the social media platforms, such as Instagram or Snapchat, they now offer the ability to blanket deny sharing your location information with uploads when you share to social media, which is a fantastic resource and something that I did not know was an option. It may not have even been known as an option this time last year. So thank you so much.
My name is Rachel Lira, and I am a advocate and also a director of a family violence agency in a rural area. This is actually my 8th time at the conference, but it is my first time speaking. So I did get to speak today or this week at the conference. My favorite part about coming to CACAW is obviously with the great information that we get and learn from different experts across the country, seeing people, doing the work that you're doing. But also, as I was telling somebody earlier, it begins to feel like a family after a while. Like I'm walking, through these halls and recognizing a lot of familiar faces and, getting to see people that I only see here at this conference. And it starts to become very familiar. It's, of course, with the CACAW staff and the Genesis staff, getting to know all of them, and they're all very welcoming, which is my favorite part. Something I learned at the conference, I learn something new every year. It's always refreshing to remember that we're not alone. Me being from a rural area, it can feel like I'm sometimes all alone doing the work, but the reality is I'm not. There's people in rural areas across the country that are having the same challenges or successes, and getting to network and learn from one another in different areas is amazing and essential to what we do. And the surprising or unexpected thing about the conference is that it does not die down. It continues to get bigger and bigger, more experts, more attendees. It just gets better every year, and that's not the case for some things that go on for a really long time. So the fact that this is the 21st one is amazing, and I hope that there's 21 more and even more than that.
Thank you again to the Conference on Crimes Against Women, the City of Dallas, everyone who stopped by the table to talk about the podcast, those who shared a little bit of their story with me, and thanks again to everyone willing to be interviewed and share a little bit about their experience at the conference. I talked to a few other people who, for whatever reason, the mic didn't pick up the conversation, so I'm so sorry about that. It's nothing personal. I wish everyone could have heard your thoughts as well. I can't recommend this event enough. We'll see you there next year.